Hi, my name is Norman Meyer and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about fat loss. Now, what qualifies me to talk about this topic? Well, I'm 50 years old. I have done several bodybuilding competitions in my life. Currently, I'm in a bulking phase, so I'm not lean, but I will start my cutting phase very soon. And this is what I need to do, and I'm going to explain to you how you can lose body fat. So to give you a little bit of a background about my story, when I was 31 and 32, I did a couple of bodybuilding competitions, and I was in really good shape, and it was really lean at the time. Maybe not as muscular as maybe others, but I was very lean. And then over the years, with family, with children, with responsibilities, work and stress and so forth, I put on a lot of weight. I put on like 60 pounds of extra weight. And it took me a long time to get rid of it. And then in 2022, I said, okay, that's it. I've had enough. You know, if you're walking up the stairs or trying to tie your shoes and your belly's in your way and, you're struggling. So something had to be done. And I did a major transformation. I lost over 65 pounds. I went from like 285 pounds down to 220 pounds. So, and I did a couple of competitions and I even won my category, the plus 40 men's physique at one point. So this year I intend to do another competition, but what am I going to do and how does fat loss work? So because there's a lot of misconceptions about the whole topic, and I want to go a little bit into detail or just give you some, sound advice on, how you should go about it if that's your goal. So first of all, you have three factors, right? So you have, first of all, you have your training, your weight training. Then you have nutrition. And then the third part is your hormones. So now I want to talk a little bit about these three things more in detail. So the training. So you should, this is in general, you should do 80% weight training and 20% cardio. And the way I do it usually is I work out and I work out on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. So why do I do this? Now let's talk about this. So have you ever seen, when you go to the gym, people who have joined the gym and year after year, they still look the same. And a lot of women have that issue where they say, okay, I need to do lots of cardio. They do an hour of cardio on the elliptical machine at 6 o'clock at night. And when you really look at them, they don't really have changed or look that much difference. Now, why is that? So first of all, you need to understand how your body burns energy. And so, or burns fat, of course. So imagine if you eat breakfast, then you have a snack at 10 o'clock, then at noon you have lunch, then you have another snack at 3 o'clock, and then maybe you go to the gym, or you have dinner first, and then you go to the gym, either way. What happens? You've had a few meals already in your stomach. And let's say you ate some carbs. Now, that's an energy source, right? And your body is trying to use the energy that it has that's easiest available to it. So it's going to take the food from your stomach first, let's say the carbs you just ate, for energy, so you have a good workout, you have power, and let's say you want to burn fat. It's not going to happen because your body is using first what is in your system, like that you just ate. And what it's called a glycogen reserve. Let's say you eat. This is your glycogen. And now you work out and it's going to deplete your glycogen storage. And then you're finished. And when you work out, and this is the hard part, an hour of workout burns maybe 300 calories. Okay? Let's say you do more intense. Let's say it's 500, okay? Just for for this example here. But it's not as much as you think. The same as an hour of cardio. No matter, yes, more intense and so forth, and will burn more. But in general, it's going to be, let's say 1 hour is 500 calories, okay? Let's say you eat one extra muffin in the morning at 10 o'clock with your coffee. One muffin has 450 calories, and basically your exercise that you did for this whole hour was pointless because you ate an extra muffin. And there is a rule or law called energy in and energy out, or calories in, calories out. So basically, if your, let's say, daily maintenance is 2,500 calories, and you work out for an hour, and then you only have 2,000 calories, then yes, you're going to lose weight. But what if you eat this extra 500 calories with a muffin or something? Then basically you are at the same point, you're also at 2,500. So have you really burnt any fat? No, you haven't. Now, let's say you work out on a full stomach at night. What's going to happen is you're going to deplete your glycogen storage first, and then basically, have you burned any fat? No, you haven't, because the body took the energy that it received throughout the day. So you need to force your system or your body to take the energy from your fat, right? So from your storage, because it has nothing else available. And how do you do this? You do cardio on an empty stomach. Yes, of course, people are going to say, yeah, but if you overall eat less and your energy, you're in a calorie deficit, then you're going to lose fat, and it doesn't matter what time of the day you burn fat. That is correct. Yes, you're going to lose weight, or you're going to lose fat because you are in a calorie deficit, which is the number one thing. But here's the thing. Most bodybuilders, they do cardio first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, let's say 45 minutes. And then they have a couple meals, then they work out and go on throughout the day. But the point is here that if you work out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, your body has nothing in its glycogen storage. So it's forced to take it from your fat cells, from your fat storage that you have, okay? So you want to do first thing in the morning cardio on an empty stomach. That's number one. Now, if you work out, and let's say you don't eat for 3 hours before you work out, and then you have your weight training, then during your weight training, your glycogen will be used maybe after 20, 30 minutes. And then what happens is your body has to get the extra energy from your fat. So sometimes adding 20 or 30 minutes of cardio after your weight training session immediately will also burn extra fat. Now, the point is, nutrition is responsible for 80% of your success overall. So you eat the wrong thing, what happens? You eat too much or too many calories, boom, you can work out like a maniac. It's not going to make a difference. You cannot outwork a bad diet. So the point is, what you have to do is you have to focus on, you have to be smart. Obviously, you want to make sure you know how much calories you need per day. Then you want to reduce the calories. And the way I do it is I increase the protein and I decrease the carbs and I decrease the fat. Okay? So low calorie, high protein, low fat. And that's basically the rule. Now, why low fat? Because 1 gram of fat has 9 calories, 1 gram of protein has 4 calories, 1 gram of carbs has 4 calories. So if you understand this, and you kind of have to be aware of what you're eating and what you're putting into your mouth, then what you should focus on, you should have, let's say, a protein source like steak, chicken, fish with salad or vegetables, because the salad and vegetables don't have a lot of calories, but they fill you up, right? If you eat too many carbs will hinder your process when it comes to fat loss. Yes, if you're in a calorie deficit, blah, 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 like people were going to argue, you're still going to lose fat. But to make it simpler or easier, you don't really need a lot of carbs. You need the carbs maybe before and around your workout so that you have a little bit more energy at the gym when you lift the weights. But if you want to focus on fat loss, you want to do empty stomach cardio, or in my case, I do empty stomach workouts even the first thing in the morning. And I add a little bit of cardio right after. So another thing when it comes to training is, how do we burn energy or fat? Well, I usually like to walk. See, I have asthma, so I can't be a runner. I can't have a lot of intensity, but I can walk. I can walk for an extra hour a day. And we have a lake here. I walk around the lake. So an extra hour of walking, from A to B, walking to work, walking to the gym, whatever you need to do is going to help. And basically, every phone, every smartphone, you can have a tracker with your steps. The Samsung that I use, automatically counts it. So you want to go for 10,000 steps. And the reason why 10,000 steps helps is because your body just is burning constantly. You don't need just one extreme workout and then you're tired, and because you're tired, you're overeating. So you want to have a steady, slow burn all the time. Now, when it comes to hormones, well, you cannot fight your hormones. Okay, and here I want to talk about insulin. Now, insulin is when you eat carbs or sugar, your insulin is gonna go up. Now, what happens when your insulin goes up? By definition, you cannot burn fat. When your insulin is low, then you can burn fat. Okay, that's very important to understand. So you eat carbs, insulin goes up. You eat protein, insulin doesn't go up. Okay, you eat fat, insulin doesn't go up. You eat carbs or sugar, it goes up. So by avoiding carbs, you have a lower insulin level, and by having a keto style or carnivore style diet, you're going to give your body the opportunity to burn fat when the energy is needed. So basically, let's say you eat a cereal or an oatmeal or some carbs, and then you go for an hour walk or jog or something like that. It's not going to help you burn fat. It's basically going to use the energy from your glycogens, and also because your body cannot burn fat when insulin is high, it's basically pointless. You might as well not go for a jog, okay? Of course, everything helps, and nothing is clear cut, okay? So just, disclaimer here. But to keep things simple, the way I would eat, just as a general rule, is something like this, or the way I would structure my day is, let's say you have the time and you wake up, let's say at 7 o'clock, and at 7:30 you're at the gym. You work out for 1 hour with weights, and then you add 20 minutes of cardio. Right after, so here is no food, just water, okay? You can have caffeine or black coffee, but no calories. So on an empty stomach. So what you want to do here is you want to then have some protein and some carbs. And the way I do this is I usually have a protein shake, and I have an oatmeal with berries, okay? So that's the way I do it. Then let's say 10 o'clock, if you want, you can have some eggs or egg whites with some fruit, or, just by itself. 12 o'clock, let's say you have lunch and you have a protein source like chicken, steak or fish, plus vegetables or salad, but ideally vegetables, because they fill you up, the fiber is good for you. At 3 o'clock, you're gonna have another protein shake. At 6 o'clock, you're gonna have dinner. And the dinner is going to be the same like lunch, one protein source with vegetables. And then at 8 o'clock, or let's say at 9 o'clock, you're going to have, before you go to bed, you have another protein shake. And let's say at 10 o'clock, you go to bed. Okay? So why do you have the protein shake before bed? Because your muscles don't grow when you work out at the gym. They grow when you are resting, when you're sleeping at night. It's basically like this. Let's say you have a knife, you cut yourself, and you have a wound. Now your body needs to repair that cut, right? And basically it's the same with your muscles. You basically you rip them a little bit, right? By working out, by putting intensity on it. And then they have to heal, and they heal at night, and they need to repair. And that's when they need it's like a house, like you build a house and you need the bricks, and the protein is the bricks of your muscle, right? So you need that source. So you see, the way I do this is I want to make sure that I have lots of protein, high protein, almost no carbs. You can have one oatmeal here. You could have protein, vegetables, and maybe some rice here at lunch. But after, let's say, here, in the evening, you no longer need carbs. Why do you need carbs? You don't work out anymore. You don't need that excess energy. So you just want to keep it simple and basically have protein. Now, what you could do is, instead of a protein shake, you can have a quark, right? Like a dessert. Put a scoop of chocolate protein powder, mix it, and have like a dessert. So you want to have, you can be creative with this stuff. So this is kind of boring, right? Now, this is the way I would typically do it. Now, another thing when it comes to hormones. The hormones, obviously, men over 40, the testosterone level goes down. So I would go get some blood work done, go to a doctor, and get some TRT, some testosterone replacement prescribed. Because when you have more testosterone in your system, and testosterone is the one hormone that's responsible for building muscle, but it has so many other benefits, like fat burning, recovery, better sleep, better sex drive, you feel better emotionally, and all these things, all these benefits together will help you to improve your physique. So as a man, I would definitely do that. Now, when it comes to fat burners or drugs, when it comes to fat burning, there's a whole bunch of things out in the market, okay? Legal and illegal. Now, the point is, what you need to understand is, yes, there are some things that do work, but all the fat burners, all the drugs in the world, they don't help unless your diet is in check. So, number one factor to lose weight is being in a calorie deficit, right? And cardio, those two things. So, for example, in my case, let's say I need 3,000 calories per day to survive, right? Let's say I eat 500 calories less. So I only have 2,500 spread over, let's say, 5 or 6 meals. And then I do extra cardio and I burn 500 calories more. So now I only have 2,000 calories that my body receives, so to speak, net. So meaning 1,000 calories less overall or deficit. And in 1 week, that's 7,000 calories. 1 pound of fat, 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So I'm going to lose 2 pounds of fat per week, or 1 kilogram per week. And you have to also understand, if you eat carbs, and this is also, many people are confused by this. Let's say I eat 250 grams of carbs, my body is going to store 750 grams of water. So let's say carbs, water, which means it's like 1 kilogram or 2 pounds. So people think, oh my God, I gained, 3 or 4 pounds overnight or, in a week. No, you probably just had more water retention. So you have to be careful also about the scale. The scale doesn't matter so much. So what I do though is I go on a scale every morning and I write it down. And I'm not getting worried about one day being off. But over the course of 1 week, I want to go see that it goes in the right direction. You see? Because sometimes when I eat a little bit more carbs, I might have a little bit more water retention. Okay? So also, what's important? Is it you want to lose weight or do you want to lose fat? You want to lose weight, right? You don't want to lose just kilograms, because you don't want to lose muscle. You want to maintain the muscle because that's what your shape looks like. And you want to maintain the muscle and you want to lose the body fat. So the scale itself is not necessarily the right measure, because sometimes, let's say you lose 20 pounds of fat and you gain 10 pounds of muscle. Okay? So in the end, you've only lost 10 pounds overall, but you're going to look a lot better because you built some muscle, some extra muscle. And what you have to understand is, what is your mass? Let's say if you're running out of paper, so I have to do it on the side here. Let's say you're 200 pounds and you're 20% body fat, which means you have 160 pounds of muscles and bones and everything else, and you have 40 pounds of fat, right? So if you lose 20 pounds, okay, then you only have 20 pounds of fat and 160 pounds of muscle, so you're going to be 180 pounds. So you only technically lose, 20 pounds. However, you are going to look a lot better. You're going to look a lot more impressive if you add some muscle here. Let's say you add 20 pounds of muscle. You have the same weight, but now you're only 10% body fat instead of 20. Okay, I'm not sure if that's realistic, but you see what I mean. So the point that I'm trying to make is the weight alone is not necessarily the best measure. You want to make sure you know what your body fat is, and then you want to make a plan, and you can calculate how much body fat you can lose. Let's say you lose 2 pounds per week over the course of, let's say, 15 weeks. So that's 30 pounds of fat you can lose over 15 weeks. So which is like, almost, 3 to 4 months, right? So that's what you want to do. And you can do this by being in a calorie deficit, by eating less calories, by adding some cardio, okay? And to make sure to know when to work out, what time of the day it makes most sense. So by the way, most bodybuilders work out like this. And why do I know this? Because Jose Raymond, which is my coach, and he was Arnold Classic winner, second place in Mr. Olympia. He basically does it like this. First thing in the morning, 45 minutes on an empty stomach, cardio. Then he has a couple of meals with some carbs in it to have some energy. And let's say at noon, he works out. He works out, with weights only. And then he has another meal with some carbs. And then in the afternoon and the evening, he has no longer any carbs whatsoever. And this way, he knows what he's eating. And the way he's also describing it to me, it's kind of boring, but if you eat the same foods, let's say for the next 3 months, always the same foods at the same time of the day, and you eat it consistently, you will see where you can make some changes, where the screws are, basically, right? So let's say you eat the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or similar, and this, same snacks or protein shakes in between. So this is what you're eating, and this is now. If the scale doesn't move, you have to either reduce some of the food by, let's say, cutting some calories by cutting some carbs, for example, or you have to increase the amount of expenditure by, let's say, doing more cardio. Sometimes people do 2 or 3 hours of cardio for a competition because, that's what they need to do. I personally, if you just follow a good diet and, let's say you cut out the carbs, not forever, but let's say completely for a while, it's going to motivate you. It's going to give you that momentum that you need in the beginning to stay on track and to say, okay, with this diet, you don't have to worry too much about necessarily the calories because you just eat lots of protein, low fat. For example, when it comes to fat, that's another thing. Avocado is healthy, right? Salmon is healthy. It has healthy fats, right? But are they ideal for a diet when it comes to a cutting phase? Not necessarily. Can you have them? Yes, of course you can. But should you eat lots of them? No, because they have a lot of calories. So by adding a lot of extra fats, you might ruin your overall, you might eat too many calories. So nuts are also healthy and they're healthy for your brain and, whatever. So, but eating too many nuts because they're calorie dense food will make you fat. So you want to make sure that you eat low calorie dense food like, protein or like salad or vegetables. They fill you up. They make you less hungry, so to speak, but you're going to eat less calories over the day. And by just making those smart swaps or choices, for example, cutting out, let's say, a soda drink that has 200 calories for water is a smart swap. Having, let's say, a steak and French fries, and you just replace the French fries with salad or vegetables is smart. Let's say you have chicken and noodles, you cut out the noodles, and you replace them with salad or vegetables is a smart swap. So by making those changes, and you can kind of work your way into it, you get used to that kind of eating where you just know, okay, I don't have to eat, I don't have to suffer this whole time, And also, you have to have a timeline. This is what helps me, to have a specific date where you say, by this date, over the next, 12 or 16 weeks, this is my weight goal or my competition date or something like that, because then you're suffering for a reason. Because if you just say, I can no longer have a beer or chocolate or something like that, and you're going to suffer, then you're going to not continue with the diet. You're going to, break the diet. But if I only cannot eat chocolate for the next 3 months, then, it's not forever. After you can eat all the chocolate you like, but for the next 3 months, you just cut out the chocolate, okay? And if you have that mentality, it helps you to stay on track. All right. So, now, when it comes to the fat burners, let's talk about the fat burners. There are a few things that you can use, like clenbuterol, for example, which is not a steroid, but it will increase your body temperature and it will burn more fat. People used to use caffeine, aspirin, and ephedrine as a stack. That's an old stack from the 80s and 90s that they used. But it's basically like a stimulant, right? So to kind of have more, so all these things are not healthy. Oh, by the way, when it comes to health, let's talk about this. Eating healthy diet, and a bodybuilding diet are two separate things. Bodybuilding is not necessarily healthy. Yes, it has some health benefits like working out and having mostly, healthy foods. But if you just say, I want to eat healthy, I want to eat this and that, I want to be on the asparagus diet or blah, blah, blah. So those are two separate topics, right? So we're talking about bodybuilding here. We're talking about losing fat. And nobody knows better how to lose fat than bodybuilders. So being healthy is great, but sometimes being healthy doesn't mean that you're losing weight. Okay? Simple as that. Now, when it comes to the fat burners, last thing, there's a few things you can use, like T3, which is a thyroid hormone that can help you to just get your overall burning. Your thyroid is for your, gets your system going. There's things like Anavar or oxandrolone, but that is not really a fat burner. Basically, just maintains your muscle mass while you're in a calorie deficit, so you're not losing muscle, you're maintaining the muscle, and basically you can be in a calorie deficit and lose fat. So losing fat is cardio and diet. Okay, that's really what it is. And no fat burner or drug in the world will, make it easy. If you use Ozempic, for example, Ozempic is something that's very popular lately, but Ozempic, we don't know if it has any long-term negative effects. But what we know is this: it not only burns fat, it also burns muscle. So you're losing weight. Yes, you're losing weight. It works for sure, but you're losing the good stuff. You're losing your muscle mass that you want to maintain. So you want to maintain muscle and lose body fat. You don't want to lose muscle. So Ozempic is maybe for someone who's obese, it's great to get things kickstarted. But in the long run, it's not the solution. All right. There's a lot more we can talk about. I hope to give you some, or have given you some ideas or insights of how to lose body fat. The point here is you just want to focus on your diet. 80% is diet. I once met a guy at the gym who was in exceptional shape. And I said to him, hey, you're in such great shape. What are you doing? And he said, things started to change for me once I cleaned up my diet. And I want to leave you with that thought, and I wish you all the best. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Bye.